Hey everyone, Duke Nukem 3D here with some more garbage from my collection. Today I have for you my US M9A1 Field Protective Mask. The M9 series field protective masks were developed around 1947 and adopted in 1949 as a replacement for the older M5 assault gas masks as well as the intermediate and sort of transitional M8 snout gas mask as well as the older M3 and M4 lightweight service masks, which still continued use at the time for special purpose reasonings into the 1950s. The M9A1 was essentially a means of making an easier to produce version of the M5 assault mask that was not only, again, easier to produce, but also more resistant to the cold, whereas because the M5 assault masks being made out of neoprene had the issue with cold set where it became extremely stiff and impossible to don in below zero temperatures. The M9 protective mask was developed off of the E48 prototypes from the again late 1940s. Gosh, I can't talk today. And were pretty much used as the standard field protective mask for the U.S. military up through the 1960s, where it was mostly phased out with the M17. However, the M9 facepiece continued use with special purpose applications, such as with the toxicological agents protective gear, the National Guard, and EOD crews and nuclear power plants, things of that nature. Just any role that wasn't primarily infantry. Continued use all the way up into the 1990s, and there are some claims that can still say that the M9 is still held in stocks today, but that's a bit far-fetched if you ask me. The original M9 was no different than the M9A1. However, the only difference which made its designation change was the carrier, whereas the original M9 used an M7A1, otherwise known as the C15R1, I believe, carrier bag, which was basically the same design as the older M5 assault gas mask's M7 carrier. However, it was not rubberized on the outside, but instead was rubberized on the inside, and just overall made out of a green duck canvas material. But they figured this design was a little bit much than what they needed, so they went with the M11 carrier design. And the M9A1 subsequently became the most popular and successful gas mask design of all history, just short of the Soviet Shlem Moska GP5 SHM41M style masks. You could say that the M9A1 is the American GP5 in a sense, and it is still probably the most common American gas mask on the surplus market today, and most of the time you'll find them unissued in their vacuum-sealed tins as well. So, anyhow, one final note to say about the M9, and it kind of goes without saying, is that it was copied by a multitude of countries, including but not limited to Japan, Yugoslavia, Sweden and Norway, Finland, let's see, who else? South Korea, and maybe a couple others, but none off the top of my head so far, so... Anyways, that's that, so let's get into the review itself. This is the typical carrier for the M9A1. This is the M11 carrier, made out of a very durable duck canvas material. As you can see, you got the markings US with the chemical core logo of the two crossed retorts with the chemical structure of benzene in the center. You have field protective mask M9A1, and markings that signify a medium-sized mask with a left-handed canister, or canister on the left side, rather. Interesting thing to note, and you can go ahead and check this out in my TAP review, there are very late examples of this carrier that are made out of slightly later materials that were marked for special purpose reasonings, such as like for toxicological agents protective gear, and I own one of those. I don't have it with me for this review, but you can go ahead and check out my TAP hood review and see that carrier in that video. But anyways, interesting is the shoulder and waist strap are both the exact same thickness, so that is again a nice touch, and I like it when carriers do that. You have 3 lifted out style snaps to open it. You have a sand drainage hole on the bottom, and there are no pockets externally. So going ahead and opening up this carrier, you've got some markings on the inner flap there. You have M11 as the designation and some serial stamps. Opening up the carrier, I'll try not to bump the camera too much. You have the pocket for the anti-dimming cloth. You have a pocket here, which it can hold a multitude of things. Sometimes it was used to hold the M8 chemical detector booklet paper. Sometimes it was meant to hold an M1 waterproofing bag, which was much later introduced with this mask. And sometimes it could hold various amounts of things. Well, not amounts, but various types of things, rather. And on the bottom there, you have the pouch for the decon kit, which was typically an ABC M3A1 protective ointment and atropine kit, but it may be able to hold other later decon kits, such as the ABC M13 and the M25A series personal decontamination kits. That's it for the carrier. Up next, we have the ABC M4 Toxicological Agents Protective Hood. You can go ahead and check this one out in my tap review again, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like all packaged in its rubberized carrier. Nothing much to say about that. Here is the typical filter that is issued with the M9A1. This is the standard M11 canister, and this is one of the normal gray painted ones. You have a plug on the bottom here for sealing, obviously. You have WB, which I'm not sure what company that is. And you have US M11. And like most filters, it has a metal screw-off cap. You can see the beautiful brass plate holding down the filtering material on the inside. Got another WB. And like most US gas mask filters from the 1940s and 50s era, it labels the amount of grams of charcoal that are inside, a lot number, and all that good stuff. I believe this is also a date right here as well. Later on, when the M9A1 continued use into the 90s and 80s for toxicological agents protective purposes, they were issued with these canisters. This is a 1986 dated M11 canister made by MSA, and as you can see, it is entirely painted black, which is very interesting. There's no brass plate on the inside. It's all black, or sort of a bluish black material. It's all blued and it's got yellow markings, and it's really cool. Still got US M11 MSA stamp. There's not another MSA stamp up here, unlike the older filter. And there's no date markings either. Just a very simple plain black filter, and this is how it would look installed on the mask, obviously. And you can also sort of see this in my Toxicological Agents Protective Hood review, so I guess go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. Here is the M13, I keep calling it M13, M3A1 Protective Ointment and Atropine set. These were developed in World War II as pretty much the standard decon kit for the U.S. troops. It's just a metal tin that had a latch that the Yugoslavians later copied for the LPD kit. And mine is missing the contents entirely. They were completely rotted out, but the only thing I do have left over is the atropine syrette, which was a nerve agent antidote, and then there would be a cardboard sleeve in here which would hold 3 tubes of M5 blister agent ointment, just M5 ointment tubes, and those you would apply to a gas wound. I don't want to say wound, but anywhere where you've been splashed with liquid agents and you need to decontaminate. And up here there would also be a little tube of BAL eye ointment, which was basically dropped into the eye if you have blister agents in your eyes. And all around the exterior of the kit you have markings detailing on how to use this for decontamination procedures. Here you have the anti-dimming cloth. This is the typical 1950s style bit. These were the ones that came directly after World War II. These might have been present late in World War II, but I'm not entirely sure. But they're all right. Here you have the face form for the mask, which is made of a fiberboard material. You got a string to retain the filter when it's in storage. And then you have the tin itself. I don't have the lid here to show you. You may notice up here it's been painted over, and it originally said Mask Gas M9, but they later restamped it Mask Field Protective M9A1. Facepiece size M, position of canister stem on the left. You got the serial code, and then on the back just has directions on how to open the tin. Finally, you have the mask itself. Now, this particular mask is interesting because when I got it, the seller who had this up for sale on eBay, stated that it was opened in 1999 by a person preparing for Y2K, and I think that's kind of amusing, to be honest. But anyhow, here's again the mask itself, made out of a white natural rubber. You got the markings US and M on the top there. Two typical semi-triangular crimped lenses there. You got the C15 valve there on the bottom. You got a 1952 stamp and a D for, I assume, Daytona rubber. And on the side here, you have another 1952 stamp and an F for Firestone. You have the 60mm valve inlet. The facepiece was often used with other protective mask sets, such as the ABC M21 rocket refueling gas mask or the M15 compressed air breathing apparatus. The M9 facepiece was very versatile, and they were not just made of white rubber. There was variants that were produced of black rubber, and we typically refer to these as the Arctic M9s because typically a lot of Arctic prototype hoods that we've seen utilize the black M9 facepieces, and it is believed that the black rubber is more resistant to the cold than the white rubber is, interestingly enough. The head harness is a C8 harness, very similar to the C8R1. However, the design uses a nape strap with a lifted dot there. And there would be markings over here, but I have previously restored this mask to remove discoloration, so those markings got rubbed off. And typical 6-point harness, nothing too much to say about it. Very comfy, very nice. One last thing to mention before I get to the inside is the nose bulge. And this is not just a bulge for the nose to sit in. This is actually the TSO deflector system. This is what's known as a mustache type TSO deflector, where the air comes in and it goes over the nose to the two lenses, instead of the older M2 style facepiece where it comes up and above around the nose bulge. Anyways, let's move on to the inside and wrap up the video before the camera life ends here. The inside of the mask is completely textured, very comfy, older style riveted harness, you can see. Got the glued in nose cup, which is made out of black rubber. You can see the outlet valve below there and the nose cup valve discs. You do have some stamping behind the nose cup here. Got M9C1, I assume a facepiece slot. Got a 37 down there and an upside down 75 right around there as well. So nothing to say about that. One accessory I don't have for this mask is the optical inserts, which are kind of rare to find on their own and kind of a very desired accessory, and they were introduced around World War II for the older M2 and M3 and M4 masks as well. But anyhow, that is my US M9A1 field protective mask. Very, very nice mask, very well known and well regarded mask. Not much to change about the design. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you got any comments, questions, corrections, or concerns, be sure to drop them in the comment section below, and I'll get to them when I can, and I will see you all later as always.